Imagine a young man standing in a dark, cold den, surrounded by ferocious lions. But what if I told you that this story of deliverance goes far beyond the jaws of danger? What if there was an unseen angelic warrior tasked with a secret mission, waiting to intervene at the crucial moment? Who was this angel and why does his role matter today? The truth is, this angel wasn't just saving Daniel, he was fulfilling a divine prophecy that still resonates in our lives. And just like in the days of Daniel, angels are still among us, fighting our battles and guiding us through life's lions. So could you be the next recipient of such divine intervention? Remember, Jesus is with you, ready to bless you in ways you can't even imagine. Don't forget to subscribe and let us know in the comments where you're from or how Jesus has transformed your life. Your story could inspire someone else. May Jesus bless you today. The tale of Daniel in the lion's den is one riddled with profound mystery and divine intervention, offering us glimpses into the silent yet formidable orchestration of heavenly powers in earthly affairs. As captured in Daniel 6:16-23, this narrative metaphorically draws us into a chilling scene where faith confronts mortal peril. Daniel, unwavering in his devotion to God, becomes a solitary figure of defiance against the earthly decrees of men. Thus, when faced with the menace of the lion's den, one might expect his fate to be sealed. Yet, it is here that the splendid intervention of heaven reveals itself in the form of an unnamed angel who quietly subdues the lions, transforming the ravenous beasts into tranquil creatures. There is something extraordinarily compelling about the mystique of this angelic intervention. The angel's anonymity is, in itself, a profound statement, suggesting that divine interventions often occur in a manner that transcends human understanding or categorization. The unseen and softly executed nature of the action aligns with the broader overarching strategies of heaven, which need not always be pronounced with thunder or pronounced declarations. This echoes a larger theological and spiritual truth, that God's messengers often work in silence, performing necessary tasks that are part of God's greater plan, often beyond our immediate comprehension. The scenario in the lion's den serves as a microcosm of spiritual warfare, illustrating that battles waged in realms unseen can influence events on earth significantly. The lions, typically symbols of power and brooding danger, become unwilling participants in this divine theater of deliverance. Through the intervention of the angel, the focus shifts from the immediate physical danger they represent to a larger contemplation of God's providence and his meticulous orchestration of events. The sudden peace among the lions reveals that the angel's mission had a predetermined outcome, Daniel's survival to fulfill a greater purpose. We begin to see through this magnificent act of divine intervention that the mission of angels is not limited to simple acts of saving, but extends into the realm of executing a divine strategy that sums up into the greater narrative of God's purpose for humanity. These interventions, often carried out with an intentional subtlety, allow for the fulfillment of future prophetic revelations, a theme recurring throughout Scripture. The angel's quiet mission in the den is not merely an act of protection, but a crucial link in a chain of divine events meant to guide history toward a revelatory completion. Furthermore, the story challenges our understanding and expectations of divine intervention. As humans, we often anticipate miracles to come with grandeur, a pronounced demonstration that attracts the senses. In contrast, the serene intervention in the lion's den is a reminder of the nuanced ways in which heavenly forces operate. The absence of noise, spectacle, or dramatic confrontation is a testament to the quiet authority and absolute control of God over his creation. It challenges believers to recognize the power inherent in faith and trust in God's unerring guidance and protection, whether visible or invisible. By walking unharmed amidst the lions, Daniel emerges as a living testament to divine fidelity, courage, and resilience. His survival underscores the belief in a protective, albeit often unseen presence, acting on behalf of those devoted to righteousness and truth. It implies that angelic intervention often aligns more with the quiet assurances of faith rather than the clamor of miraculous deeds. This event not merely guarantees personal survival, but ensures the continuation of a prophetic voice through Daniel. so essential for revealing future mysteries that shape scriptural prophecy. In this transcendent moment, one cannot ignore the symbolic imagery of Daniel amongst beasts as a reflection of the broader spiritual battles faced by believers, underscoring the necessity of divine aid in seemingly impossible situations. The tranquility of the lions in Daniel's presence extends beyond physical protection, becoming a metaphor for God's peace obtainable amidst life-threatening adversities. It stirs within believers the realization that divine strategies in their lives might be quietly unfolding in silence, perfecting God's providence in ways that surpass human calculation. Moreover, by choosing to operate invisibly, this transfer of divine power demonstrates that angelic missions often interweave within a grander divine tapestry where time, intention, and destiny meet in perfect harmony. While this angel remains nameless in the biblical account, each thread of his mission points towards a divine orchestration meant to preserve Daniel for future revelations. Without this silent rescue, the prophecies in Daniel, which further clarify the unfolding of spiritual history, might have been lost to the ages. Ultimately, the understated move of shutting the lions' mouths is a subtle yet profound reminder of how God's presence can permeate the most perilous situations, transforming them into platforms for divine glory. The passive submission of the lions signifies more than just their taming, but suggests an unseen submission to divine will. It offers a cocoon of safety for Daniel within a domain typically ruled by death and fear, transitioning it into a demonstration of divine sovereignty. As we reflect on this silent yet powerful angelic intervention, it becomes apparent that heavenly missions carry deeper implications, often serving purposes greater than immediate situations. These events ripple through time, echoing beyond their immediate impact, aligning with God's strategic plans for humankind's spiritual well-being and steering history toward the fulfillment of his ultimate design. In essence, the moment in the lion's den remains a testament to God's pervasive yet often unseen influence, urging believers to trust in his perfect, albeit mysterious, control over both their immediate and eternal destinies. Imagine, if you will, a realm where celestial warriors engage in unseen battles, their impact only hinted at in historical records and sacred texts. In the dense fabric of such a spiritual narrative, one angel stands as a beacon of divine defense: Michael the archangel. Could it have been Michael who descended into the lion's den, engaging in a spiritual duel to shield Daniel with God's will as his guiding light? Such a question transports us beyond the physical, urging us to ponder deeper spiritual truths woven into the fabric of our existence. The Book of Daniel provides a tantalizing glimpse into Michael's formational role as a celestial protector. In Daniel 10:13 and 21, we find a portrayal of spiritual warfare that is intricate and commanding. Here, Michael is unequivocally identified as one of the chief princes who aids when other spiritual forces impede the delivery of divine messages. It is this role of divine intervention that compels us to consider Michael's participation during Daniel's time of need, an era teetering on the brink of substantial prophetic revelation. The lion's den was undoubtedly a physical ordeal, but what if it also symbolized a grander spiritual confrontation? As Daniel faced the ferocity of beasts, it is conceivable that Michael, designated in Daniel 12:1 as the great prince who stands watch over the sons of your people, intervened at a critical moment. This wasn't merely about preserving Daniel's life. It was about protecting the flow of prophecy to ensure that the full counsel of God was manifest in due time. The preservation of Daniel's life was intricately linked to a larger divine strategy, one that required celestial guardianship of the highest order. Reflecting upon Jude 1:9, we witness another revealing moment of Michael's spiritual valor. In a dramatic confrontation over the body of Moses, Michael doesn't rally at Satan with accusations. Instead, he invokes divine authority by saying, "The Lord rebuke you." This encounter underscores Michael's role not just as a protector, but as God's designated enforcer of heavenly decrees. It illustrates the poised balance between divine authority and deft action, hallmarks essential for encounters where the stakes touch upon the cosmic and eternal. Michael's very presence signals a marker of divine involvement in human affairs, particularly where God's prophetic purposes are at stake. If indeed Michael was the angel who intervened in the lion's den, then that act was more than a simple rescue. It was a pivotal nexus of celestial guardianship that safeguarded Daniel's enduring prophetic legacy. Daniel was not just a man in peril, but a vessel through which future generations would glimpse the unfolding narrative of God's kingdom on earth. In contemplating these spiritual truths, we appreciate how the biblical narrative invites us not simply to witness, but to engage our imagination and understanding. These divine mysteries, hidden within the folds of scriptural text, beckon us to recognize the profound and often silent interplay of divine intervention in our own lives. Could we too be participants in a realm where angels tread our prayers, igniting battles we cannot see? This notion challenges the modern reader not only to consider the historical and theological implications of such events, but ultimately to reflect on their personal spiritual journey. Michael's strategic victories remind us that spiritual warfare is intricately interwoven with divine plan and purpose. We may never face a lion's den, but our own lives require moments where we must lean into faith that heavenly defenders stand ready at our side, engaging in battles on our behalf, often unseen yet incredibly potent. Such contemplation encourages a deeper faith, one that concedes the existence of a world beyond our senses where profound spiritual dynamics unfold. It is here, within this intersection of the visible and invisible, that we find the resonance of Michael's enduring legacy. A reminder that as God's people, our stories are entwined with celestial narratives that span the reaches of time and eternity. What part might we play in this divine tapestry, where Michael, the archangel of battle, continues to defend not only individual destinies, but the ever-unfolding history according to God's eternal blueprint? In the divine theater of the cosmos, where unseen battles raged and celestial beings clashed in silence, the Book of Daniel provides a rare glimpse into the intersection of human history and heavenly conflict. We enter this sacred narrative in Daniel 10:12-14, where the mysterious tapestry of God's activity behind the veil is partially unveiled. In this passage, an angel appears to Daniel, revealing that his prayers had been heard from the moment he first spoke, but that the prince of Persia had hindered the angel's path for 21 days. This scenario is not merely a historical anecdote of delayed heavenly delivery. It is an invitation into the mystical and often overlooked dynamics of angelic warfare. Understand this: Daniel's prayers were so potent, so aligned with the divine will, that they triggered an invisible struggle of cosmic proportions. Here, prayer is portrayed not just as a ritual of devotion, but as a divine tool, a catalyst capable of influencing spiritual realms. It's a breathtaking reminder of the unseen partnership between faithful humans and angelic beings in the pursuit of God's purposes. The angel describes the delay consciously, suggesting a dormant but ever-present conflict between the forces of good and evil, represented by Michael, the archangel, and the opposing princes of darkness. These princes are not human figures, but spiritual adversaries stationed over regions, attempting to exert influence through the systems and governance of earthly realms. It's a sobering revelation of how human affairs are intertwined with celestial conflicts, shaping and being shaped by forces that exceed human capacity and understanding. Daniel's consistent prayer life hinted at a spiritual warrior's heart, subtly influencing these battles by his alignment with God's heart. Interestingly, the same angelic guardian who preserved Daniel in the defining moment within the lion's den seems to have aided him again in ensuring the prophetic visions were documented. This connection highlights that safeguarding Daniel's physical life was as crucial as protecting the prophetic insights meant for generations far beyond his own time. Here lies the genius of God's providence and purpose. Daniel as a person was precious, yet his divinely revealing prophecies were enduringly remarkable and essential for spiritual understanding. The context of Daniel 10 expands our view of spiritual warfare and prayer far beyond personal religious practice into the realm of divine strategy. The narrative suggests that every heartfelt prayer, a stand against darkness, a whisper of hope, were threads woven into a larger divine tapestry. It's compelling to consider how your very words uttered in earnestness might engage angelic forces to alter courses of events in ways you cannot perceive with mortal eyes. Herein resides an important spiritual lesson. Just as Daniel was inclined toward divine purposes, maintaining an unwavering stance of faith and consistency in prayer, believers today must realize the potency of their prayerful engagements. When aligned with God's will, prayers become a divine force, inviting angelic intervention in unseen wars, shaping nations, preserving truth, and advancing divine revelations that even now are on the threshold of fulfillment. The unseen battles are very much akin to chess, with moves and countermoves, strategies and interventions all playing out on a cosmic board. These are not just ancient epics, but ongoing, unfolding realities in which you too have a role. Embrace this moment as one chosen in the great pursuit of God's purposes, armed with prayer, shielded by faith, and guided by truth. It is here within the realms of apparent mystery and celestial conflict that we begin to appreciate the profound truth that we are perpetually surrounded by an angelic host, both witness and participant, to divine plans of inexpressible magnitude. Stand firm, then. Pray with understanding and depth, knowing that even now, as it was in Daniel's time, angels are warring for the fulfillment of God's divine intentions, that his truths might be upheld and his kingdom's light triumph. Over darkness yet again. In the complex tapestry of biblical prophecy, the figure of Michael emerges as a pivotal character. Respected as the archangel, Michael has been depicted in Scripture as a formidable warrior for God's divine justice, championing the forces of light against the encroaching darkness. One might think Michael's story is limited to ancient biblical times. Still, as we explore the prophetic books, particularly Daniel and Revelation, we see that his mission stretches from the historical landscapes of Babylon to the urgent dramas of the end times, making him a spiritual warrior whose influence is timeless and ever relevant. Daniel 12:1 sets the stage for Michael's essential role. At that time, Michael, the great prince who protects your people, will arise. This verse speaks volumes, indicating a pivotal moment where Michael's intervention is necessary to protect and shield. It hints at a spiritual unrest that transcends physical battles, marking a period of great tribulation and adversity that calls for divine intervention. Michael is portrayed not just as a guardian of Israel, but as a protector of truth and righteousness amidst chaos. To understand Michael's continual mission, consider the historical context in which he appears. The Babylonian era, known for its grandeur and oppression, was a time when people of faith faced significant trials. Babylon becomes the backdrop of many of Daniel's visions, where Michael's presence underscores a constant vigilance against spiritual forces that sought to undermine God's plans. Here, Michael isn't merely a static figure of the past. His mission extends through time as he combats modern equivalents of the darkness symbolized by Babylon, echoing through the ages into today's turbulent world. Linked intrinsically with these visions is Revelation 12:7-9, where Michael's role is further expanded. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. As we explore this celestial battle, it becomes evident that Revelation ties Michael's narrative from the historical, the corridors of Babylon, to the prophesied events of the end times. He stands as a guardian against the forces of evil, a defender of those who would stand for God in a world steeped in darkness. The imagery of Michael leading God's forces against the great adversary, Satan, underscores a broader, more profound significance to his mission. It's not merely about heavenly skirmishes. It's about the ongoing battle between good and evil that plays out in spiritual realms and manifests in earthly struggles. Michael represents the assurance that, even when the battle seems overwhelmingly bleak, divine intervention is both imminent and inevitable. Today, many believers find themselves ensnared by personal conflicts that mirror the overarching cosmic battle. Whether it's grappling with moral quandaries, facing persecution for their beliefs, or simply navigating the complexities of life, the metaphorical lion's den remains an apt symbol of the trials faced. Just as Michael's intervention in ancient times brought respite and deliverance, so too does his mission continue, offering hope and strength to those navigating their spiritual challenges. We can find encouragement by reflecting on Michael's role as one who shut the lions' mouths in Daniel's time, as a continuing testament to the power of faith and divine protection. In contemporary struggles, Michael stands as a symbol of the assurance that, though unseen, divine forces conspire to deliver, guide, and empower. His story offers a divine blueprint for engaging with our battles, reminding us that we are not alone in the spiritual conflicts we face. Considering this unseen yet profoundly felt influence, believers are encouraged to seek divine alignment through prayer, reflection, and engagement with the Word. Michael's ongoing warfare highlights the need for spiritual readiness, inviting individuals to embrace a life of faith that prioritizes spiritual vigilance, moral integrity, and unwavering trust in divine sovereignty. It becomes a call for believers to anchor themselves in the knowledge that they are part of a bigger narrative, one in which their victories and struggles form an inseparable part of God's eternal plan. In recognizing the scope of Michael's mission, a profound assurance emerges. Just as he arose to protect a nation and contend with celestial adversaries, he remains a present force against the tides of darkness. His mission is a living, vibrant testament to the strength and hope given to those who dare to believe, standing firm in their own spiritual battles with the knowledge that they, too, have divine intercession on their side.